Well, friends, once more into the fray we go. And we find ourselves back in Arkham, just a few miles down the road from the university. Dawn approaches, and the storms don't seem to have really let up, unusually. The rain has fizzled, for lack of a better term, but hasn't gone away. The wetness, for lack of is permeating everything. The two of them wake up inside their motel room, reflecting on the events of the past 2 days, the chaotic 2 days, and the horrific night of last night. Having been confronted by Miranda, guns pulled, being accused of murder, ritualistic death, and things that should not be seen being seen, tearing away at their minds, making them relive memories, feelings, emotions, gnawing at their very psyche, as if something was feeding on it. All the while trying to piece together what exactly is happening to them and to the world around them. And yet somehow, a dead man haunts their every moment. The daylight begins to fill the sky, and though the curtains were drawn last night, that small sliver of light peeks through. And as the dawn approaches, the light grows larger and larger. As it works its way across the room, across the man lost not only in drink but in memory, reliving nightmare after nightmare. As the light touches his eyes, jolting him awake. That splitting headache that accompanies perhaps a drink or two. And the only thing that seems to want to satiate it is perhaps a little bit of that hair of the dog first thing in the morning. But as your vision clears, you look across the room and you see the tranquil form of Alice sleeping. Head upon the pillow, sheets hugging her every form. And the faint caw of a bird outside, perhaps on the railing.
I think Jack will take a moment, pull out a cigarette, put it in his mouth, not light it right away. I think he'll look at Alice and he'll have a moment where he'll think about what exactly the professor's actions have wrought. Like, you know, Jack considers himself not necessarily a bad man, but certainly not a good one, and he's done some terrible things, but he's older and he's lived and he's done some stuff, and for the professor to, you know, engage him in some of the weird things he's engaged him in, well, you know, Jack knew what he was doing, but as he sits here and looks at Alice sleeping, I'm imagining that he sees just the young, you know, innocent girl that got lured into some situations she may not have wanted to really get into, but felt she needed to, and he suddenly the dislike and the disdain he has for Professor Swansworth for having preyed on Alice, for having abused the trust that Alice had put in him, and trying to abuse the fact that she felt that she needed to do something in order to keep her place at school. His disdain kind of flares up, and he clamps up on it, and he'll stand up still with his unlit cigarette dangling from his mouth, and he'll just go over and crouch next to the bed and very gently push a strand of Alice's hair behind her ear and just very gently touch her cheek and go, "Miss Marsh? Miss Marsh? It's okay. It's just me."
Oh, hi, Jack. It's morning already?
Yeah, you looked like you were sleeping real peacefully there, kid. I'm sorry I had to wake you, but kind of thing we got to do, I believe, is best done in the light of day.
Yeah, of course.
Sleep okay?
Yeah, she's gonna look at her wristwatch. What time is it?
It's about 8:30 in the morning.
Okay. What time were we told to show up to speak with the cops?
10 a.m.
Ah. You got a plan, Jack?
Well, my experience has been that things like this, you can plan until you're blue in the face, but second things start to happen, the plan's gonna fall apart. So my guess is we go there, we'll take the lay of the land, see what's going on, we'll see if the cops are there, we'll see kind of what's happening. But sorry, we were going to the police station, right? That's where we had to meet the cops? Kurt? Yeah.
Yep.
I think that I think we got to go to the museum, because if we go there and we fail, then the cops are not going to matter much, and if we go there and succeed, then the cops are not going to matter much. So I think we're going to head down to the museum. And we're going to go see about what we can do about this statue. And if the cops show up, well, they'll show up. If ever that happens, if all this turns out to be just a fever dream and there's really nothing wrong there, and the cops do show up, you can always say that I forced you to come along. And they'll buy that, and they'll go easy on you.
I wouldn't do that to you, Jack.
Well, you getting into a jackpot with the cops with me is not going to help me none. It's just going to make me feel worse. But if I have to go down, at least you get to get out of this. And
And go where? I ain't got nowhere to go.
still got school. They're not going to kick you out.
I don't got no money for school, Jack. I mean, Professor Swansworth, he was all I had. Now that he's gone and there's a lot of eyes on me, I'm a liability, you know? All the stupid rumors and...
Yeah, well, the rumors are going to be just that, rumors. No one's ever going to know the truth. We destroyed all the evidence, and look, I got a little bit of money laid aside, kid. If I'm going to go down, it's not going to matter to me anyways, so I'll make sure that you're okay. You're doing a brave thing and coming to help me in the first place, and well, I think that what Swansworth did to you was just downright rotten. And I think that you deserve to be free of care and worry for a little while and not be at the mercy of other people like Swansworth.
She's gonna scoot over on the bed and just grab him and hug him really tight while he's talking.
It's gonna give back the hug at first, kind of confused, maybe not confused, but hesitant, but then he'll wrap one arm around you and hold you too.
Thanks, Jack.
Yeah, you got a kid.
Yeah. You never had no one looking out for me the way you've been looking out for me. Always just kind of been doing it on my own, you know. Even with Swansworth, there was stipulations involved.
Well, my experience has been that that's what most of life is. You think that you're free to go about, and they say it's a free country, but it really isn't. There's always someone that's going to have some hold over you, whether it's the staff sergeant or the Swansworth of this world or your boss or whatever. You just got to find a way to stand on your own 2 feet and just go through and get what you can.
She lets him go and she kind of sits up in the bed, and her hair is a little disheveled and her makeup's kind of rubbed on her eyes, and she gives him like a little half-cocked smile and says, "Who knows what's gonna happen? Maybe today's just gonna be our lucky day for once. Gotta win sometimes, yeah."
Hey, kid. I think I can see what Swansworth saw in you. There's fire in you, and we're gonna need that today, so you keep that fire stoked, all right?
All right.
I gotta do something with my hair. I look crazy. And she's like kind of looking across the room at like a glass.
Give me a minute and we can go, all right?
Yeah, I'm gonna step outside and get us some coffee, okay?
Of course, sounds great.
How do you take it?
I like a little sugar and a little cream.
You got it, kid. Back in a few minutes. Do what you gotta do.
She's gonna doot off to the bathroom and with her little bag and fix her makeup and her hair.
I'm gonna go out and get a couple coffees somewhere. There's probably a machine somewhere or something.
As you leave the room, you're pretty sure you saw like a concessions area, some vending machines, cigarette machine. You're fairly certain. Oh, you know what it was? There was, like in the reception area, there was a coffee pot that was there for guests. And as you go to get the coffee or whatnot, you step out and the cold, wet air immediately hits your face. It's just drizzling now. It's not even fully raining. It's just wet enough outside to piss you off. And as you're moving around and you're going down the stairs, your feet splashing in the little puddles on each one of the concrete stairs as you descend down to the first floor. I need you to make a spot hidden check.
Spot hidden. Where are you, dear? I got 49 under 55.
As you're walking, you see something out of the corner of your eye. You know how most of these motels, they're in a U shape or like a T shape of some kind, and excuse me, and there's all the little thoroughfares between to go from the front side to the back side of the building, because all these places line and use the maximum amount of space. You see a black hat and a long leather jacket. And as you catch it for a moment, you see a slightly pale-complected individual. And as this person realizes you see them, they bolt just out of view.
I am going to go after them. I'm not going to go at a dead run, but I'm going to do I'm going to reach up to my cigarette to take a puff and realize I haven't lit it yet, and I'm just going to leave it there and kind of do like the quick walk, but kind of kind of going along the wall of the building. And I'm going to, as I do this, reach inside my jacket and pull out my Colt M1911 and just sort of hold it up alongside my body, and just gonna quick walk down to the alley and follow the figure.
As you round the alley, you see the leather trench coat and the hat and the pale skin on the back of the neck as it's hurriedly walking, and then it happens to glance a look over its shoulder. And in that moment, you see something. You're not quite sure what it is. Human? Yeah, it's definitely human. Yeah, it is. Sure. Give me a sanity check.
Oh, God. By the way, thank you so much, Andrew, for the advantages. 1 each for Creepster and I. Thank you so much. I think I'm going to start needing them. Sanity. My sanity's not doing too well these days. I'm going to spend one of those advantages to re-roll the second die.
Okay.
And I fail. I got 42 over 41. No, sorry. I'm at current 41. Yeah, 42 over 41. Damn you.
Lose 1d4 sanity.
Jeebus. If I take a short rest, do I get back some sanity?
No.
Yeah, 2.
As you see this man, it's a man. It's not a man. It is a man. No, it's not a man. It's what? No. And you immediately empty what contents you have in your stomach onto the ground as you fall to a knee, heaving, vomiting onto the ground. Back in the hotel room. Alice, you're in your room, doing your hair, washing your face, putting on some lipstick, making yourself look as beautiful as possible. And as you're doing this, I need you to make a listen check.
Okay. I'm gonna use my new dice.
Hey, thanks, Kentucky Fried Creature. 1,000 bits. That's
Trogdor, the Burninator.
advantages.
Tractor!
The Burninator.
5 advantages. Thank you so much.
A 77 was my listen.
And in the night comes
I
the door.
am going to use a luck point and re-roll the first die.
So you can have the extra one from thing. We'll both be at 7.
Yeah. That's a 37.
37.
My
listen's a 35. I'd like just miss it.
So you got a 37 out of 35?
Mm-hmm.
You hear an click. Sounds like the front door.
I am going to instantly assume that it's Jack. And I open up the bathroom door. It's very like nonchalant and like,
Did you return with the coffees? That was fast.
As you open the door, you see this hat, black, brought down, and this long leather coat. As it walks towards you, you see the very faintest of pale skin across its chin.
I don't know who you are, mister, but I think you got the wrong room.
And she's kind of backing up into the bathroom to get to her purse.
As he walks forward, this creature, this man, it opens its mouth slowly. And as it does, it looks like a mouth that has too many teeth, and they're not even real teeth. They're not a person's teeth. They're all pointed daggers, all needle-like. And as he approaches 1 foot after another, before you realize it, he's in extremely close proximity. And you immediately smell the sea. He pushes you into the bathroom and closes the door behind him, the light above extinguishing.
Hey, what are you doing?
Make a sanity check.
Okay.
Yeah.
Sure, everything's fine. Oh, God. I ain't gonna use a luck point. What's my goal on a sanity?
You want to get under your sanity.
Oh, okay. 65. I made it.
Okay? His arms are on either side of you, pushing you back into the tub.
She is starting to kick and try to fight against him.
Okay? Go ahead and make a fighting roll.
All right. Oh, Jesus. Well, here goes all these luck points. I could use another one of those. And it did not help me at all. That's a 99.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's fine.
As you're fighting left and right, the light of the light bulb pops and goes out. You pull the curtain down, and you are overcome as he is on top of you, coming down at you, and you get to see his eyes that are slightly too large, a nose that is a little too flat, odd slits on either side of his neck, mouth agape with needle-like teeth. As he's getting closer and closer. Roll power, please.
I think at this point she's also screaming.
Oh yeah, for sure.
Yeah. That's 58. Success.
Success? Okay.
Mhm.
You close your eyes and you let out this scream. And as you let out this scream, the pressure is immediately released, but not before feeling a slight tick across your skin. Outside, Jack, you hear a scream.
Is the guy still there in front of me?
He's not in front of you. He's like on the opposite side of the parking lot, right? Standing behind a car, but he's like, you can tell, getting that vibe that he's watching you, but you hear Alice scream.
Yeah, I'm gonna turn around and head back towards the room. Double quick.
You run back and you see that the motel door is slightly ajar. and you just hear Alice screaming. And as you run in, you fling the door open. The bathroom is dark, but from the ambient light from outside pouring in, you can see Alice's legs open and hanging over the side of the tub. She's leaned back at an awkward angle inside the tub, eyes closed, screaming, like scratching at the air.
There's no one there?
No.
Okay, I'm gonna rush forward and I'm gonna be, Miss Marsh, it's me. And like, I'm gonna try to calm her down. If she doesn't calm down, I'll turn on the water. But if she calms down relatively soon, I won't do that. But I'll be like, it's me, Miss Marsh. It's Jack. Come on, stay with me, kid.
Am I still seeing this thing on me?
Nope.
Okay. I imagine Jack's voice snaps me out of it, and oh my God, Jack, is that you?
Yeah, it's me, Miss Marsh. Come on, Alice, come on. And I will grab you and help you out of the bathtub and kind of sit you on the edge of it. Look over my shoulder.
Attacked. Did you see him? Did you see where he went?
What did you see? Who did you see?
He's the strangest looking fella. He had really pale skin, and it was like his nose and his face. He didn't look right, Jack.
Yeah, okay, I saw him outside. Come on, we gotta go. Are you dressed?
Yeah, she's dressed. She went to sleep in her clothes. She was just basically like brushing her hair and fixing her makeup in the bathroom.
Grab anything you don't want to leave behind. We got to get out of here.
Yeah, I think she just grabs her bag.
I'm going to go to the door and scope out the scene outside.
The scream has the motel manager like looking out his door like he's looking for like, where did that scream come from? Trying to see some sort of commotion or something along those lines. As you're looking out, he sees you, kind of thing, and you kind of have that momentary eye contact, and he just kind of looks.
I'm gonna be like, is someone screaming? Did you hear that too?
He's like,
must have come from one of the rooms down there.
And you see him pop in the office door, comes back out, and he's got this key ring with like a massive amount of keys on it. And he starts running over to the rooms, knocking on doors.
And while he's doing that, as soon as, Alice is ready, I'm going to wait till he's kind of occupied with the room and's got his back just maybe over to the side. And I'm going to grab Alice's hand and we're like, all right, come on, we got to go. And I'm going to run. I'm going to head down and try to turn down one of the alleys or something to just kind of get out of view of the guys.
Okay. As you duck around the alley, Alice is with you. Your car is right there across the parking lot, and where that man was standing, but he's no longer there.
You said you saw him too, Jack?
Yeah. At least I think I did. Come on, let's get in the car. I'll open the door and I'll...
Give me another spot hidden, Alice.
I'm going to use a luck point. Hey, that's an 11.
As you are looking around and going, kind of keeping an eye out, you see the mess that is on the ground near the cigarette machines. And that immediate smell of bile and stomach acid hits your nose, and it almost becomes slightly overwhelming in itself. And then you kind of trace it and you look and you can see small flecks of the vomit still on his chin.
I think as we get into the car, I'm gonna pull out like a little kerchief from my bag and kind of make a move towards Jack.
Got a little something on your face, Jack. Hold on.
Yeah, sorry.
Cleans you up.
Are you okay? And I'm gonna sort of do something, just kind of look at her and are you okay? Or are you seeing double? Are you fine? And just kind of do a cursory.
She's gonna check the spot where that creature scratched at her.
So you feel it. and you like wipe at just the underside of your chin, and you see a small little triplet of blood.
Oh, it looks like you got me a little bit, Jack. Can you check for me? I don't think it's anything too serious, but
Yeah, I'll take a quick look.
Jack, as you look, you see a small smidge of blood under her chin. And as you go and wipe your thumb across it, there's no cut.
You're fine. It's just a graze. You're okay. Let's just get out of here, all right?
I just don't understand. How was he there? It was 1 minute he was there and he was over top of me and he was holding me down and then he was just gone. He was just gone, Jack.
I know. There's something weird going on. I can't explain it. I've seen some weird shit out in the desert, but this is pretty much taking the cake right now, kid. So, look, we just got to keep our heads together, right? I know this is scary, and I know it's very difficult to understand. I don't understand it either, but right now, losing our heads and losing our cool is not going to help us. We gotta stay focused. We gotta stay strong. All right.
I think while you're talking, she's like opening her bag and she pulls out her Derringer that she's had this whole time.
Oh.
And she's like popping it open and checking the rounds before closing it and slipping it back in.
Jack's gonna look at that and then go, "Can I get my knife back?"
Oh, yeah, of course. And she pulls that out of her bag as well and hands it over. I didn't want to say nothing to you while we was at the house because I didn't want to hurt your feelings. It was a really nice gesture, though. But, a young lady alone on campus, you never know what kind of danger you could get into. So I felt it was maybe appropriate to have some sort of firearm. Do you think that my gun will hurt him? I don't know. It's so strange. He doesn't even look like a man.
Alice, focus. Alice. First of all, it's fine. My pride is perfectly fine. I'm happy you have a gun. Second, do you know how to use it?
I mean, you just point and you pull the trigger, right?
Yeah, okay. That's good enough for now. You're a lot more than you seem, aren't you, Alice?
I'm not sure what you mean by that, but I like to pride myself on being a smart girl, so...
I mean by that provided we don't, go completely crazy or get killed, I think you're gonna be just fine, kid.
Well, I've survived a lot, I guess, so... Well, what's a little more?
Well, let's hope it's just a little more. As I put the car in gear, I'd like to say thank you, Insomnia Knight, for those bits, as we each have another advantage. Creep from Insomnia Knight. Thank you very much.
Because I am going through them right now.
Yeah, you're eating them like they're fucking vegetarian hot dogs.
As you start up the car, Alice, in your mind, my dear, you are so much more than you realize. So very much more. Every square inch of you. As his voice echoes through your head.
I think she's just kind of like staring quietly out the window as we're on our way.
I'm going to piggyback on this for a second, Kurt, and tell me to mind my own business, but when I saw the pictures of Alice, I saw the symbols that had been drawn on her, right, in the pictures. Did any of them mean anything to me, or?
You had seen them before.
Okay.
You had seen them very specifically in the temple that you uncovered in Algeria.
Can Alice, can I ask you a slightly personal question
Of course, Jack.
about those photographs that I saw yesterday?
You see her face just go like electric red.
Yeah, of course.
I noticed that there were things painted on your body. The runes, symbols. Do you know what that was all about, or what any of them were? Did Swansworth mention anything about them being significant in some way?
He always said that we was practicing. That he was testing things and learning rituals, just practicing. I didn't really understand it much. Like I said to the cops back before, I can translate words here and there, but some of these languages are so old. I don't fully understand it. And then when you get a whole bunch of those symbols at once, the context is it can be quite hard to pick apart. So
I've seen some of those symbols before in Algeria, in one of the tombs, and I was in the tomb specifically where I found the statue that's at the museum now. Alice, did anything happen in the past few nights, maybe that was different in your encounters with Swansworth? When was I'm very sorry to be asking you about this. I know this is very troubling for you, and please understand again that I bear no judgment, and I'm simply trying to figure out, like you said, these symbols are important in context. One of the things that I've discovered in my time working for Swansworth is that a lot of these things end up being connected, and that in order to find the key to something, you have to be able to make connections between a bunch of different things. So I'm just wondering if anything happened recently that might have caused this to happen. Was there a special night? Was there something different to your encounter? When was the last encounter?
She looks like she is just trying her hardest to think on this and to give you what you want from her.
I gotta be honest, Jack. I don't remember anything being different or anything like that, and a lot of the times when the stuff would happen at the house, I don't remember a lot of it.
Did he make you drink something or smoke something, or?
Would she have any memory of anything like that?
No, as a matter of fact, it was actually quite the opposite. He said that you had to be completely within your faculties before any of these events occurred. You were not allowed to drink. You were not allowed to have anything, for lack of a better term, unpure 48 hours before one of these quote-unquote rituals. You had to be completely clean. You weren't even allowed morning cups of coffee. You could only drink water. You could only eat fish or seafood type items. And then on top of that, most importantly, to answer a more direct question that Jack has asked, it has been exactly 4 weeks since the last encounter with him. Despite your regularity before then, so much so that you had even propositioned him a couple of times and he had told you no.
Okay. She would share all of that with Jack.
And the last time you had met him a month ago, first of all, Is there anything special about today or yesterday, the moon, anything like that?
No. But you do know that exactly 1 month ago is when the bulk of your expedition was lost.
That last night that you were with him was the night in Algeria that things went sideways. Something awoke or strange happened in the ruins that we were in. Most of the men died. It's difficult to explain what happened. Did he seem different after that night, or did he do anything different?
Particularly vigorous, we'll say, in his ritual nature.
Well, I guess all that practicing paid off. My feeling is that you had just been practicing, but that night he actually enacted some sort of ritual or call, and it's what awoke something. But you were saying the context is important. Maybe he got it mixed up, and instead of summoning something tied to the notion of immortality, he summoned something tied to the notion of death.
Do you think I did that to all those people?
No, you didn't do anything, Alice. You didn't kill people any more than this gun has killed people. You were a instrument. Something that Swansworth used, but you didn't know what was going on. Do you remember the symbols that he drew on you that last night? We unfortunately destroyed the images, so we can't refer to them.
Oh yes, you very much remember them. This was
Am I able to draw them?
You are, but it is also difficult to do so. Not that you are incapable, not that your memory, so to speak, is faulty in that manner. Just it takes a great amount of willpower to will your hand and arm into the motions required to make these symbols.
Do I know if there's any repercussions for, like, if I pulled out my writing tablet and my pen writing these, like drawing them?
It can be draining, exhausting. However, it is nowhere near exhausting when you have been asked to do it after performing a ritual. And
so I have had to draw these before, so I would know what it feels like to draw these images. Okay. She kind of looks to you and...
I mean, if you really wanted me to, I could probably draw them out for you. But it takes a lot of focus to draw them. And sometimes it makes me a little tired after. But I could do that for you if that's what you wanted, Jack.
Well, to be honest, I don't know that it's gonna mean much. I'm gonna pull over somewhere. I'm gonna reach in the back seat and pull out the papers that I got out of Swansworth's thing. I'm gonna split the pile in half and hand them over to Alice. Let's look through these and see if there's anything. Maybe he wrote something about this, or he kept some sort of ledger or diary or something about what is going on, and I don't think that just drawing the symbols is really going to do anything other than fucking start this whole thing all over again.
So for this, you're both going to give me a roll. And in this case, this is be a special case for this skill, but it is quite fitting. You're going to utilize library use as you are referencing several documents, trying to find any sort of correlations between the two of them and whatnot as you are sitting here in the early morning looking at these documents.
I'm pretty terrible at that.
I'm pretty good at library.
Can I help her instead of me rolling?
No, because you're looking at two separate piles, so they're two independent things.
Well, wish me luck.
Use an advantage. Yeah, I got a 24.
Okay.
I'm going to use an advantage also, because why not?
All right.
Oh! Nah, nothing.
All right. Alice, as you are flipping through and you're looking through now some of the symbols that you've translated, it seems as though you come across a sheet where the symbols look very familiar, specifically the order in which the symbols were made in here.
Okay.
And it says, from the ocean, life will occur. From that life, it will bring about the end and rebirth. The gateway.
She's going to point out the symbols to Jack and repeat what Kurt just said.
Can you repeat it again, Kurt, please?
From the ocean will bring life. That life will bring death and rebirth. The gateway.
Wait, do you think this means that Swansworth's going to come back to life?
I mean, he could, I guess.
It says it will bring death and then rebirth, right? Where's his body?
Well, I would assume it's at the morgue.
Kurt, so mostly because I don't want to run off into like a completely erroneous direction for no reason at this point. From whatever experience I have, would I think that something like this is more likely to occur where the body is, or would it be more likely to occur where the artifact is?
You know what? Go ahead and give me... You know what? Go ahead and give me an intelligence roll. We're going to have you make an idea check.
Can I use luck points? How does that work again? For every 10, I lower my... By what?
You lower it by 1. Let me double check. So, Leo, like so if you, let's say your intelligence is a...
It's 55.
55 for 10 luck points, right? You can essentially increase that number to 65 for the one roll.
Yeah, let's do that.
Okay.
Can I do that more than once?
No.
Okay, so I'll do that. That's 10 points. I'll remove 10 luck points. Fitty? I'm not a fitty. Baby needs new shoes. Okay, yeah. 54 under 70, under 65.
You remember at the base of the statue in ancient Aramaic, the statue is referred to as the gateway.
Right, so we have to go back to the statue. Speaking of the Gateway, Cannibal, thank you so much for the 5 gifted subs.
Hi, Troy.
You are the fucking gateway. You are the great Cthulhu risen. Thanks, Cannibal. We really appreciate it. It's very cool of you. Oh, and an anonymous gifter for a whole bunch of other stuff. Thank you so much, everyone. Thank you so much for all the gifts and the love. We appreciate you. I think it's Great Cthulhu who's giving us all these subs. Thank you. We appreciate it. This channel is nothing without your support. Thank you. I think we have to go to the museum and go to the statue. I remember seeing something on the pedestal of the statue, a symbol in Aramaic that means portal, and your little whatever it was there. What was that haiku? Whatever that was there that you had there a minute ago, and it's talked about coming through the portal. So if anything's gonna happen, it's gonna happen there.
So you think if we destroy the portal, then it's over, right? Nothing can come through if we get rid of the gate.
Well, one would hope. Remembering the statue, Kurt, what do I think it would take to destroy that?
The statue is made of both a crystalline substance as well as tempered steel, which should not exist given the time frame in which the temple was created. That's part of the oddity of it. Its face appeared to be made of pure mercury. And yet somehow it stayed where it was at.
I have no clue we're going to destroy that thing. But one thing's for sure. We're not going to figure that out sitting here. Still with me, Alice?
I am.
Oh, I'm sorry. I've been calling you Alice. I mean Miss Marsh.
No, you could call me Alice, Jack.
You sure that's all right?
Of course.
You're a good kid, you know?
I try. I just keep seeming to find myself in more trouble every time.
Yeah, well, story of my life. All right, well, before the cops come and round us up for disorderly conduct, I guess we best head on down there and see what we can do about it.
Kurt, would Alice know of anything at the school that they could potentially utilize?
I mean, it is a science school as well as a historical
She ain't no
school.
dummy, so...
Yeah, there's a chem lab. There's lots of chem labs. There's lots of interesting things, especially before certain educational systems were highly regulated. So, yeah, this is the golden age where textbooks had the chemical formula for gunpowder in it. So, do with that information what you will.
You know, Jack, we could make a trip over to one of the science labs. Science isn't really my forte, but
it is Dottie's.
Typically, those kinds of things are labeled, and we could always check in on my roommate. She's going to school practicing sciences, so maybe she could help us out. Dottie's real great. She's a really fine gal, you know. I don't think she would have a problem with helping us, but just a thought.
You sure you want to bring her in on this? Like, this could be extremely dangerous.
Well, maybe we could just take a trip, just you and I, around the science labs, and if we don't see anything or we don't understand anything, then I could always just ask Dottie, but yeah, I don't want to get her in trouble, you know. She's really looked out for me since I've been here. It's almost like she's my biggest sister.
Well, Alice, the only thing I know about science is that I know nothing about science. So how about we stop by your dorm and you can just ask her what it would take to... Just ask her to point in a book or something, or write you down a little formula, so what it would take to destroy some tempered steel. and then we can go and sort it out ourselves. What do you think about that?
Yeah, I don't think that's such a bad idea.
Holy moly, Cannibal, thank you so much for those bits. It's a lot of bits. It's a lot of bits. I'll let somebody else do the math.
3.
Really appreciate it. Thank you so much. Thank you. I'm gonna cry.
So where do you go?
Let's do that. Let's go and see Dottie, and we'll try to keep her out of it. Just ask her.
Yeah, where would I find Dottie about now? I imagine I
at this time in the dorm room.
Okay.
So you guys head back to campus, and you find your way to the dormitory, and as you're entering the dormitory, you see the RA kind of stand there looking at you, Alice, and then looking at the man behind you.
I was gonna ask, I'm assuming these are not co-ed dorms.
Nope.
Yeah, I would assume that she would ask Jack to like stay in the car or like stay downstairs or something while she did this. I don't think she would.
Sure, you're gonna be okay up there alone?
Yeah, I'll be fine. Dottie's like my best friend here, so.
You see anything weird, anything strange, you see a fucker in a fedora, you come running right back out, right?
Of course. Yeah, don't worry about it.
Yeah, I'll be right here. If you're not out of there in 15 minutes, I'm gonna come back up.
She rattles off the dorm number to you just in case before she flits up the stairs into her dorm.
As you go up towards your dorm room, and you go to reach for the door handle, the door flies open, and out stumbles Anthony, lineman for the Miskatonic Atoms, with his pants barely on, trying to pull a shirt on, looking at a watch. He stumbles into you. Hi, Alice. Bye, Alice. And he goes running, and you just see like Dottie like leaning against the doorway, and she goes, "You missed a hell of a party, honey."
Oh, I see you was getting real cozy with Anthony.
Yeah, cozy's one way to put it. Where'd you go last night?
I stayed with a friend. You don't know them. They're new around here. Hey, Dottie, you think I could ask a favor from you?
A friend? Hello. And she like grabs your jacket and like pulls you into the room, closing the door behind her. And she goes, "You don't stay the night with friends. The only person you stay the night with is the professor when he makes you work late. So tell me, who were you staying the night with?" I mean, you're still wearing the same clothes from yesterday, so I mean...
Yeah, well, I was just up and I was studying real late with someone, and it got too late, and I was really tired, and I just slept on a friend's couch. Don't worry about it, Dottie. Really.
She's like eyeing you, and she goes, "Did you finally hand over your V card?"
It wasn't like that, Dottie, I swear.
Okay. If you say so.
Plus, I told you never to tell anybody that. You don't tell people that, do you, Dottie?
Tell them what?
That I'm a virgin.
No.
It's a bit embarrassing.
Not really. I mean, you're only 19. I mean, you don't exactly... Wait a minute, is that why you don't really favor the fellas? Honey, I'm not judging.
Her face just starts bright red.
I mean, I'm not judging. I'm just saying, like, I mean, if you're a girl's girl, that's okay. And I don't mind. I'm just saying, I mean, appearances and everything. you know?
No, it's not like that, Dottie. Look, I just need your favor. I just need a favor from you, Dottie. Okay, just real quick. I'm in a rush. I gotta do something really important, and I can't be late to it. You know, I got a lot of classes.
Okay. Okay, what do you need? What can I do? And she like sits you down on the bed, and she sits next to you. You're all sorts of riled up, sweetie. What's got you?
Okay,
She like literally moves your hair out of your face, right?
all right. Well, have you ever heard of tempered steel before?
Oh yeah, they make battleships out of that.
Wow, Dottie, you're so smart. I really appreciate that about you. You know.
Well, I mean, I am going to chemistry class, like a lot of it. Apparently, love potions aren't a real thing, though.
Say you wanted to maybe get rid of tempered steel. What kind of thing could get rid of tempered steel?
Well, high explosives of some kind, some sort of massive amount of kinetic energy could cause the atoms to separate and then, cause it to kind of shred apart like you're pulling apart bread. If you're trying to like melt a hole through it or something like that, you'd need some sort of phosphorus, or perhaps, I mean, if you could get your hand on some potassium and some magnesium, and then maybe a little bit of this and maybe some of that, you could create some thermite, and then thermite would kind of like melt it down, so to speak. But then again, there is always the tried and true, just make some dynamite, and with enough dynamite, I mean, you can pretty much, destroy anything. But what are you trying to do getting rid of tempered steel?
So, the school, the labs at the school, do we have the kind of things to maybe make a bit of dynamite? I've never made dynamite before, and I find it really interesting, the process. And I've been thinking lately, maybe I might switch my major now that Mr. Swansworth is gone, and maybe I'm a science girl.
I'll tell you what. I have all kinds of questions about what you need high explosives for, but I'll make you a deal, right? I won't ask you no questions but one, okay? Just one,
Okay.
and I'll help you out, okay? What's his name?
Dottie, come on. It's nothing. I got a little bit too tired, and I didn't want to come home so
Well,
late.
this study friend of yours would definitely, whatever. All right, get your clothes on, change your clothes. You don't want to wear the same thing you did yesterday. And she very quickly pulls on basically a sundress almost, right? And she goes, we're probably gonna have to go to lab B. Because A is in class until but
No, Dottie, I don't need you to go with me or nothing. I can still read, I just maybe if you just wrote it down on a little slip of paper. If I told you his name. If I told you his name, but you gotta write it down, Dottie. You can't come with me.
She goes to her secretary and pulls out a piece of stationery or whatnot and a pen, and she's like,
Her face is getting deeper, colors of red going on.
Okay, look, but if I tell you his name, you can't go around campus telling nobody, okay?
who am I gonna tell, girl? I'm just happy you have a boyfriend.
I don't know who you're gonna tell, Dottie. I just, I get really embarrassed really easily, and okay, his name is Jack. He's
Jack.
real handsome,
Yeah?
but you can't tell nobody, Dottie. Will you write
not.
down what I need?
Oh,
I
yeah,
gotta
okay,
go.
okay.
I'm in a hurry.
Okay. Jack, though. Okay. And you see her kind of looking out the window as she's you can see her writing this this chemical formula out, and she's looking at the. See the guy in the car?
Maybe.
Is he the one who needs the dynamite?
Look, I'm broadening my horizons.
Oh yeah, you definitely doing that, sweetheart. And she like finishes writing it all out or whatever, and she goes, "Okay, listen to me. This is very important. Okay, if you're going to use this, what I'm giving you, all right,
Mm-hmm.
you cannot be anywhere near it, and this is volatile. Do you understand me? Don't shake it around. Don't drop it. Don't nothing. You understand?" If you're just trying to broaden your horizons through better livings through chemistry, that's one thing. But you're going down a very explosive path, which, has a little bit of concern. But, I mean, girl's a girl, gotta do what she gotta do. But most importantly, your buddy down there, he's an American, right?
Oh yeah.
Okay. And then she then she hands it to you.
I fucking love it. She takes the piece of paper and she leans in and like gives Dottie like a little kiss on the cheek.
You're the best, Dottie. You know that, right? You're my best friend.
Yes, I'm aware that I am your best friend, sweetheart. And she gives you a big hug, and she gives you a very big hug. And in that moment of giving her the big hug, right? I need you to roll spot hidden.
All right. Oh, this is a terrible one for me. Did I make it for once? Fuck no, I didn't. I'm gonna use a point and try to roll a little better on this. Oh god, I only have 2 luck points left.
You got a hail from Bones also a few minutes ago, so you have an end.
Bones, my baby. Thank you. We're gonna
Bones
use
out there.
that.
Throwing hails.
Ah, ha! That is a 19.
As you hug her and your face gets buried in those blonde locks of hers, you smell the sea faintly. And then she lets go. She gives you a peck on the cheek and she goes, I better see you tonight. Okay? And I want to hear more about Jack. I want to hear all about Jack. You understand me?
Yeah. Of course. I
Okay.
promise. It won't be like last night.
Well, I mean, if it is last night, call the girl. Don't let me be up half the night worrying about you. If it wasn't for Anthony, I would have been distraught all night, wondering about where you were going. He provided quite the pleasant distraction.
She's gonna slowly like back out of the room.
Thanks again, Dottie.
Love you, sweetheart. We'll see you soon.
And as she closes the door and kind of turns around, like that smile she was holding for Dottie just kind of dissipates from her features, and she's looking at the paper in her hands, and her brows knit as she's pacing down the hall and making her way back to Jack.
Okay. About 5-10 minutes later, out of the double doors that lead into the dorms, Jack, you see Alice come running out with a piece of paper clutched in her hand.
I still have my unlit cigarette in my lip. Jesus, kid. I was about to run in there and pull you out of there gun in hand. I thought you were done for.
I'm sorry. My roommate Dottie, she's a talker. But I got what we needed. And it seems like Laboratory B could be where we need to go to find it.
And she's gonna hand over the sheet of paper to you.
You might as well be staring into the human brain when you're looking at this piece of paper.
Is this modern art?
You see octagons connected with lines and a couple of letters and a number and then a couple of other things and connected to make this giant chemical formula, and then it's got like a small recipe underneath it and everything like that that's listing, phosphates and thermites and, stuff that you're like, what the fuck is this?
You understand this? You can read this? You can decipher this, Alice?
Do I understand it?
Yeah, you do.
Okay, I was gonna say she hardly even glanced at it.
Yeah, of course.
You know what's interesting? When you think about it, what's the difference between this and those things that Swansworth painted on your body? They're a bunch of squiggles and symbols that don't mean anything to most people, but if you know how to read them, you can blow up the world.
It's a bit scary, Jack, when you put it like that.
Yeah, well,
Well, she said also a little bit of a warning. When we make it, and she looks at the paper. When I make it,
be very far away.
very far away, yeah, and don't shake it or drop it or nothing like that. It's
Jesus, did
very
she give
volatile.
you nitroglycerin?
Essentially, yes.
I think so. That sounds right.
Jesus, kid.
Well, she said
Hope your
that
hands are
tempered
steady.
steel is what they make battleships out of. Did you know that, Jack? Battleships.
Yeah.
Do you think they had battleships back then?
Honestly, Miss Marsh, I ain't got a goddamn clue what they had or didn't have at this point.
While they're like looking at each other and having this moment in the car, she like digs into her purse and just lights a lighter for him.
Maybe you
Thanks,
should have
kid.
a smoke, Jack. You're looking even more tense than usual.
Well, welcome to the world of nitroglycerin. Hope you got a steady hand, Miss Marsh. And I hope you know where the fuck Lab B is. Start the car.
As the car starts up and pulls away, the car heads across campus and the radio begins to play. Anchors away, my boys. Anchors away.
And on that note,
we're going to take our one and only break for this evening, friends.
all right. You know, it's not just the characters that are at risk of losing their sanity in this particular fucking scenario.
Oh no. Well, I gotta go. This is fun.
Not yet, you don't. So, as you're pulling away, heading across, so the unique thing about the Miskatonic University is that the way that it's laid out, for those of you who have ever been to the Smithsonian here in the United States, every section of learning is very much divided. So the entire medical area is its own section. The entire sciences section is its own area, especially that pertaining to chemical and what we would deem as like technological based type sciences. And then there's a whole other section dedicated to like ancient history and stuff like that, where we've predominantly been for this story. Taking us to the sciences area, you see this large building that kind of reaches up towards the sky, not necessarily taller than the museum itself, but it appears in this massive this massive presence as you do. And as you approach it, you can even hear a faint hum coming from the building itself. But without pause, you find yourselves working your way through. No one seems to stop you. Jack looks old enough to be a professor, and, well, Alice looks young enough to be a student. Keeping just enough distance between the two as to not arouse suspicion, you find yourself standing at the entrance to Laboratory B on the second floor. Through the small window in the door, you can see inside, and it does, at this point in time, look like something out of pure science fiction. The instruments, the gauges, the Bunsen burners and the beakers, walls upon walls of instruments and measurements, and large cupboards with various chemicals in glass vials, jars, await you. As you enter in, you get that first initial whiff of something sterile.
Oh, that's me.
Oh, must have been the radiation.
Hiroshima.
Why'd you have to whisper it like that? God.
You know, Miss Marsh, I've traveled all over the world and been to ancient temples and forgotten ruins and dug deep into the earth and saw the remnants of ancient civilizations, and, well, everything that I see here today is as esoteric to me and as filled with wonder as all those places were. I'm glad you're here with me and that you have an understanding of these things.
Yeah, well, I have a very basic understanding. But, you know, Dottie was pretty thorough in her notes here, so I think I could figure it out.
She gives like a worried smile.
Miss Marsh, Alice, I trust you. I have faith in you. You can do this.
Yeah, I'm sure everything will be just fine.
Yep. I'm going to wait outside in the parking lot. I'm kidding. I'm going to stay right here with you.
She's gonna pull out her recipe and just start looking for all the things that she needs and go about doing this business.
Go ahead.
Jack's gonna light his cigarette in case it's his last one.
There is a giant no smoking sign branded everywhere.
I ignore the living fuck out of it. Okay. I'm leaning under it and I light up.
She looks back at him.
I don't know if I would do that here, Jack.
And then she does one of these to the sign above your head.
There's a lot of volatile chemicals in this room, and I mean, we're making nitroglycerin.
Yeah, I'll save it for later.
Yeah, maybe. I mean, you could always go outside and do that if you needed to. I can handle it on my own in here, I'm sure.
I'm gonna stay here with you, Miss Marsh, Alice.
I appreciate that.
If I can help in any way, if you can direct me, if you can tell me how to do something, I'll do it. I got a pretty steady hand.
As you are going about setting this into motion, looking at things, give me an intelligence roll, please.
Yep.
Or actually, no, give me an education, EDU.
I'm gonna use advantage for that. That's much better. That is a 13.
As you are setting about, as if something takes over and your mind kind of clicks into an autopilot, and all of the science classes before this have flooded into your brain. You're setting things out, measuring things, the Bunsen burners kicked on and going. And then you hear a click, click, as the door swings open. Of wheels on a bucket, and you see the bucket getting pushed in a mop handle, and a dark-haired, boyish-looking man comes in and looks. Oh, excuse me, I didn't realize studies were being conducted. Oh, Miss Alice,
Paul!
It is so lovely to see. What are you doing here in the?
You about scared the life out of me, Paul. I'm just doing a little extracurriculars.
Is that what's happened? And who is this? Is this
I'm the I'm here to Dr. Philbin.
Philbin.
Yes. I'm here giving Alice lessons.
And he like looks over at Alice with a look on his face like, "Are you okay?"
Blink twice if you need rescuing.
Yeah, I was just I was thinking about changing my mages lately. So Dottie, my roommate.
Oh yeah, she's
Yeah.
real sweet gal. Yeah.
Oh, I love Dottie. She's been helping me out, and so she sent me some recipes I could maybe try, things that I could attempt to work on, so to see if I like it, you know.
Oh, but okay. Well, this is my appointed time to clean this lab before the next one. Is that gonna interrupt your extracurriculars here at all, or?
You wouldn't mind giving me a little time, would you, Paul?
That's fine.
I'll
And-
make sure to clean up after myself. I won't leave a mess, I promise. I wouldn't do that to you, Paul. I know how hard you work for the school.
Could I buy you a cup of coffee, Paul? For a few minutes, just I'll reach in my pocket and pull out a fin. How about you go and get yourself a cup of coffee and a donut? How does that sound?
Okay. Yeah. I could do that. Yeah.
We'll be done here in a few minutes. It's just it requires a lot of concentration, and I wouldn't want Alice to make a mistake and have to start all over.
Of course. Though, as he's going to push, I'll get that coffee to, and he like kind of like shuffles over and like turns the Bunsen burner down just a little bit, and then grabs, like he like reaches around Alice, so like the front of his body is pressed against the backside of Alice, and he scrapes a little bit off. When you're making the nitroglycerin, you need to remove just a little bit. That way it's less volatile. And yeah. And he like his face is like right here next to yours, and you can see that he's like actively sweating as he's doing this. Just, this isn't the best extra curriculum, but you pick up things when you hear. But that coffee and donut sounds real swell, mister, and I'm gonna go do that. Okay. Yeah.
Thanks, Paul. I didn't know you knew so much about sciences.
You should see what I know about the ocean sometime. As he walks out, and the door clicks behind him.
I think Jack would notice that Alice is like maybe looking at Paul a little differently than what she normally would. She's a little hot under the collar. She's like, oh.
You make
Paul
friends
sure does
wherever
know a
you go,
lot.
Alice.
That's Paul. He's a janitor. He's always really friendly to me. I kind of built like a little bit of like a relationship since I worked gone to school here.
Look, in the grand scheme of things, the janitor knowing how to make nitroglycerin is really one of the least weird things we've seen in the last 2 days. So
It's a bit weird, isn't it?
yeah, I'm willing to just kind of go with it,
I mean, he helped, so.
Well, yeah, I guess that's better
I
than what
think
we're
Paul's
thinking.
just a real swell guy, He's just trying to help out.
How old does Paul appear to be?
Early 20s.
Well, if maybe you could ask him out for a cup of coffee someday, but let's just get the nitroglycerin done.
Oh, yeah,
She like goes back very quickly to doing what she was doing.
You okay?
As you set about, you make just enough to basically make 2 bottles of this. Now,
Okay.
what you know of these 2 bottles is this is enough to basically wipe out the foundation of the museum if not applied properly.
Oh, okay.
All right. Well, I think we should clean up a little bit. I promised Paul I would, and I wouldn't want to give him more work on accounts of me just being lazy.
And she's like kind of picking things up as she's saying this, and scooting the 2 bottles towards Jack.
I will look for a way to create these, like get some cloth maybe or something and wrap the bottles up so that they're protected, and then put them tightly packed into like a little box or something. You made a lot.
I mean, I made the recipe.
I think Dottie is an overachiever.
She's enthusiastic.
Yeah. Good job.
Thanks.
Let's
Maybe
clean
I
up
have
and-
a career in sciences. If
The bell is going off, signaling class change.
Oh, I think we got to get out of here, Jack. And
Yeah.
I remember Paul saying that there's a class coming up, and I don't think we want to get caught in here playing around with the chemicals.
No, I'm with you. I'm with you. Let's get out.
So, as you make your way out, you exit the door and you start to move through the crowd. As you do, you both kind of glance back and you see Paul leaning against the outside of the door, holding onto his mop handle, and he just...
Thanks,
And he-
Paul.
and he just he gives the biggest, warmest smile. And normally in this case, many people kind of, they blush real big. He doesn't really blush so much as he just gives a very warm, welcoming smile.
I think this is like the happiest I've ever seen Paul before.
Well, he got to. Jack thinks about him brushing up against Alice, help you out. So, that usually makes a fellow happy.
Yeah, I guess so.
What'd you say you were
Nice
from,
guy.
Alice?
Me?
Yeah.
I'm from Innsmouth. Have you ever heard of there before? It's not far from here.
I don't think I have. The people there nice?
I don't remember a lot of the people from where I was born. I spent a lot of time in an orphanage.
Oh,
And
did you?
some people were nice there.
Did you ever discover anything about your family?
And at that, you remember yourself as a small child, standing outside the administrator's office, playing with a ball. The smell of the sea air just off the coast, the constant smell of fish for the small fishing town. But you were an orphan. Your father lost at sea. And inside the orphanage, you're playing with a ball, and you overhear your name mentioned. And at that, the door starts to creak, and you hear, "I mean it. Shall receive the best education, and this orphanage will ensure that it has all the funding it needs. The family will provide it. She will be raised harshly, but fairly. And she will go to the university. That is the wish." And as you're bouncing this ball, you look up, and this black-hatted individual with a long black coat, skin slightly too pale, eyes slightly too round, nose semi-flat, lips large and pulled to the sides. He looks down at you, blinks. Abashed. You're going to do great things. As he walks out, and that smell of the sea air follows him. As the door closes, and the administrator, who you've come to know, looks at you, frowning, and then goes back to counting money. And the door closes.
I'm sorry, Jack. Did you ask me something?
You okay, Alice? You kind of went away there.
Yeah, I'm okay. Just feeling my nerves today, you know?
Yeah, understandable. Hey, you've done a lot. I think it would probably be best at this point if you let me handle the rest of this. You can go back and find Dottie and wait this out. I mean, you've done your part. There's no need for both of us to risk it out here.
What if one of those things comes back for me? Like at the hotel? I don't want to be alone, Jack. I feel safe around you, and that's not something I feel a lot, you know?
I look down at the crate of nitroglycerin in my hands. Well, you know what? I think, you know what? I think maybe you haven't gotten to make a lot of decisions for yourself, to choose your path, to choose what you want, and I think you deserve to, so if you think this is what you want to do, then...
Something tells me that this is where I'm supposed to be. It's just like a feeling I got.
Well, I don't know how much I believe in that kind of stuff, but if you'd asked me yesterday if I believed in some of the things we've seen since in Algeria a month ago, I would have said no. So, you know, I guess things change.
So you want to go blow up a statue with me?
It honestly would be one of the least criminal things that I've done in my life, so, you know.
It kind of sounds like a lot of fun, you know? I've never blown anything up before. Who gets to say that they've done that?
Well, I don't know if we're going to want to claim this one once it's done, but at least we'll get to witness it. Just remember what Dottie said. When this thing's about to go, you turn tail and you run, fast as those gams of yours can take you.
Of course.
All right. I'm glad you're with me, Alice.
I'm glad you're with me, Jack.
All right, now that we've been emotionally vulnerable with each other, we're probably both going to die, but that's okay.
As you say that, the thunder rolls in and the rain begins to pour once again.
Lightning strikes.
Let's go.
And the thunder rolls.
Where would the statue be at this point?
It would be moving to the preparation room for it to be because tonight's supposed to be the big gala. Tonight's supposed to be the big event, so it would have been moved up into the showroom that is currently walled off and sectioned off.
When we get there, Alice, I might need you to do something.
Of course.
I'm gonna need you to find the nearest fire alarm. And I'm gonna need you to pull it so that people get out of there before we start messing with this stuff.
Yeah, I don't want any more people getting hurt.
Yep. Me either.
As you run to the museum, you drive
I'm
across.
sweating, by the way, because of the glycerin.
Yeah, right. You get in the car and you drive, and before too much longer, you're at the museum. And you go inside largely unnoticed. And once inside, Alice, do you pull the fire alarm?
He wanted me to pull it as we're doing this, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I mean, given the amount of people that I would figure are in here, like how long do I think it would take the people to evacuate?
10 minutes.
So once we get there, the first thing, okay, so once we locate the statue, I will tell Alice to go in.
As you go through and find, you come across the showroom. And you manage to slip inside, and there it is, that humming. Vroom, 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 vroom. And Jack, as you look at it, those dissident waves seem to be coming off of it. And you feel it. As you look at it, its mercurial face shifting and moving as you look at it. Its arms framing its face as the mercurial liquid moves over it. And you look at it for just a glance, Alice pulling the doors slightly closed. I need you to make a sanity check.
Oh, damn it. I'm going to spend luck.
That's me elder signing myself for him to about to do this thing.
Ooh, 19 under 39.
Your
Ooh.
resolve steals as you look at this thing once more, and it looks back at you, rippling where its eyes would be. You see two sets of eyes, two sets of eyes, two sets of eyes. And in the mercury, you can see them looking at you fixed, blinking as you move near the statue. You set the nitroglycerin and the small timer that you've rigged for it, and you begin to pull the fuse out.
Make some noise, Alice.
Got it.
And she's gonna go run off to find the nearest fire alarm to pull.
Oh, there's one right here.
Oh, she pulls it.
As you pull it, alarm bells start to go off all around, right? You hear people scream. Sprinkler system begins to click on, and water begins to pour down everywhere around you. As the sprinklers are going, not only is it raining outside, now it's raining inside. And before too much longer, the water begins to pool on the floor. And as it does, Jack, what are you doing?
I am backing away, keeping an eye on the statue and everything. I want to back away towards the door, and I want to make sure that Alice is with me as we back out of here.
The door is locked.
Did you lock the door?
No. Did you lock the door?
No, I didn't lock the door. Are there windows here?
Splosh. Splosh. Splosh.
I draw my gun.
Two men in black hats and long coats raise their heads and look, eyes slightly too large, nose flat, mouth drawn, opening their mouths to needle-like teeth, slits along their necks as it bulges as they suck in air. And they begin to walk towards you.
Those are the ones. That's the one that got me, Jack, when we was at the hotel.
All right, you need to get out of here, Alice. You need to get out of here. Are there windows in this place?
No, there is a skylight.
And no way to climb there, I'm pretty sure.
You can climb up the statue.
I'll take a quick look at the door. What does it look like? Does it look really solid? What does the
These are
lock look
solid oak doors.
like? God damn it. All right.
But this way will be opened.
Yeah. Okay, tuna breath. God damn it.
They begin to lunge towards you.
I'm gonna grab Alice and just sort of kind of pull us and start moving out of there.
Roll a d10 for initiative.
Everybody.
Yep.
I rolled a 2.
Okay.
You're all late.
I'm doing great.
All right. You rolled an 8.
Yeah.
So, Jack, what do? You try and grab at Alice as these things are lunging towards you, their hands reaching out. And as they do, their hands almost look skeletal in nature with barbs off of their fingertips, hooking back like hooks as they reach out to grab, their flesh pale in their palms as they begin to lunge. But Jack, you are first in the initiative order.
Is there... I just need a bit of information before... the amount of nitroglycerin we have, this room, is there any way that I feel that it would be a place for someone to hide that they wouldn't get blown to smithereens?
No, not a chance.
And the only means of escape that I can see is the
Skylight at this point, yes.
Are there no fire exits?
There are fire exits, but they're across the room, and you will have to go through these two men to get to it.
And the only way to get to the skylight would be to climb on this
statue, or try and climb the drapery that's pulling down from the ceiling.
God, that sounds like a bad idea. I am going to, on my action, interpose myself and kind of try to push Alice back, and I'm gonna say, "Run!" and I'm gonna lift up the gun and shoot one of the creatures.
Go ahead and make a firearm roll for me, please.
Ooh, I got 45 under 60.
All right. One of them takes the shot. Who's initially coming? Roll your damage, please.
I don't know what my damage is. Sorry.
So it's a pistol.
It's a cold. No, I have the damage. Sorry, I have it.
Yeah.
I wasn't looking in the right place. It's 1d10 plus 2. 6 plus 2, 8.
All right. As you do, your gun fires off, and you have it hits and it blows out the back, and you see this gaping hole in its underside of its ribs as you see this eerie green muscle tissue and blood pouring out of the hole as it stops, and it kind of the gateway, and he begins to lunge at you, making an attack against you.
Thank you, Walter's Haven. Thank you, Jeremy, for the raid. Welcome in, raiders. You are just in time to see us perish. We do have nitroglycerin, so we still have an ace in our hole. But yeah, it's not looking too good. Thank you for joining us, Jeremy. Really appreciate you.
Would you like to dodge?
Well, I'd rather dodge than die.
Well, so here's the thing. If you dodge his attack, you will not be able to make another dodge this round.
I'm gonna take a chance and dodge.
Okay. You need to beat a 57.
At 24.
So you dodge out of the way, and he fumbles towards and falls at Alice's feet for a moment before slowly picking himself up out of the slowly growing water. The other one turns, looks at the statue, his hand extends. Abla, Ngolala, Nyachata. And the hands from the mercurial face that are like this, right? The mercury extends from the face to the two hands, and the hands widen, one above, one below, and the mercury stretches out into a ring. And within that ring, it slaps closed and opens back up. And as it does, the sheer crackling energy that is heard, as if a tear in the very fabric of space and time is being created, as it opens up, and this concussive wave moves across the room slowly, foot by foot. And within this open portal, you see a place you've never seen before, you've never heard of before. Angles of buildings off by just a degree or two. Skies filled with black clouds and white skies, as if you're looking into the negative of a negative of a photograph. Creatures moving around, undescribable, incomprehensible. And then there's a flash, and then you see a temple, a very familiar temple. Only it's under the water. And something is moving from the entrance of this temple so very far away, coming towards the portal. Slowly, but surely. 1, 2, and then they're circling around at the entrance to this portal, as if waiting for something.
Gotta get out of here, Alice. Can you climb? Can you climb up there? The skylight.
As he's saying that, I need you both to make sanity checks.
No, I think we're fine. Hey, Avondale, thank you so much for the raid. Thanks so much for coming in. We were playing Call of Cthulhu. The thing is this, every time I go to say Call of Cthulhu, I think COC and I want to say Corrosion of Conformity.
You don't want to say cock?
Yeah, I just want to say cock. We were playing cock, which is something we do for fun here on Friday nights. Thank you for joining us. We are just at the end here, as we are struggling to prevent the opening of some portal to some really disturbing world, which I think is Nebraska. I'm going to spend one of these advantages that we got earlier and re-roll my 10s dice.
I rolled a 4.
No,
Okay.
That's pretty good.
That's pretty good.
69. I'm looking it up.
Yeah, it's because you got all that cock on the brain.
I got all that cock. So time to 69. And lose my sanity. So there you go. I failed my sanity roll.
You lose a D10 of sanity.
Oh my good lord. Oh, just 3. All right. Phew.
As you are faced with something that is truly lies beyond. But as you do, you fall to your knees, shaking, beholding this majesty, this horrific scene of the unknown, the unknowable. And slowly but surely, tentacles begin to extend out of this portal towards you. They look familiar, like that of an octopus, but not. And they grip around the statue as if they're holding open the portal, ensuring it stays open. And you still see things moving through this. Alice, it is your turn.
So He's like basically fallen to his knees right now.
Mm-hmm.
And what are the two creatures doing?
One has fallen at your feet and is struggling to get up. The one that has a hole blown in him, right? The other one is extending his hand, basically muttering these words that opened the portal. This is all kind of happening at the same time. So all these actions are kind of simultaneous.
Mm-hmm.
So that's why like they have nothing else has kind of happened at this point because now you're going.
Oh god, I just hit the wrong fucking button.
Wrong button.
I'm trying to pull my character sheet out and I pulled out everything else.
Now's not the time to fucking use
I can't look, I'm doing my fucking best. I'm doing my best.
Keep it together, creep.
I gotta find the right screen again. Okay, there we go. I think she's gonna back up a few paces, and I'm like debating: do I try to run? Do I listen? Do I try to run, or do I try to fight? I think. You know, I think she's gonna try to get out. I think she's gonna try to make her way to the statue that is horrendous right now and try to see if she can get footing to climb it.
Okay.
Or even just make it past one of these boys.
As you push towards the statue through the water around you doesn't smell right anymore. It begins to smell like the sea, ocean water. And as you draw closer, you see along the portal those symbols. And on yourself, you begin to feel a warmth across your abdomen. So much so that it's not quite burning, but that feeling you get when you've perhaps laid on the beach a little too long and you're not quite sunburnt, but you're getting there. And you feel it all across your abdomen, where markings were often made. And searing pain, doubling you over, dropping you to your knees as you approach the portal. Take 1d6 points of damage, please.
Okay. This is normal. All right. A 1.
Jack, what do? You hear her screaming in pain.
So tell me like what I saw. She was running towards the statue.
Wasn't running, just moving. And the closer she got to it, right? Then she grabbed at her abdomen and kind of doubled over in pain and kind of dropped to her knees for a moment.
I'm gonna kind of pick myself up, and can I get to her, or the fish sticks in our way?
There's one that is in your way, and another one that's slowly crawling to his feet. You could crawl to her. You find it very difficult to walk, as if vertigo is taking hold in you.
Are they completely ignoring her?
No, it's more like they don't deem her a threat at this point. She's made no action to attack them or anything along those lines.
I'm gonna crawl over to her and I'm gonna put my hand on her shoulder and go, Alice, what's wrong?
I think I'm assuming I'm still experiencing this searing pain. I'm just wailing and holding my stomach.
Can I reach for her blouse and rip it open to see her stomach?
That would be your action.
That'll be my action.
Yep. When you do, you see the same circle bisected by 2 lines and 3 dots above, glowing. It's about a 1 inch by 1 inch on her abdomen. The same thing that caused the same symbol that caused you to black out. And other symbols lining across her abdomen in a semicircle, emanating from her navel.
Do they look painted on her, or?
No, they look like they're literally branding her as she's standing there.
Okay, well, that was my action. I know what I want to do next, but that was my action for now. I'm going to look up at you, Alice, with like just this look of like sadness in my eyes, like, oh, you poor girl, what's been done to you kind of look.
As you do, you feel hands gripping you and dragging you away from her. And you're hoisted up onto your knees, and a claw rakes down your back, doing 6 points of damage as your jacket, shirt are raked off of you. Its claw barbed hooks raking down your flesh, exposing portions of your bone.
Ow.
How many hit points do you have?
I have 6 left. I have 12 total.
Kneel. Serve your purpose. The other one is up to its feet and it comes stumbling over and it grabs one of your arms, it coughing up this greenish ichor as it holds your arm out. The other one holding your arm out. He grabs the back of your head and reefs it down to where like your chin is touching your chest, lifting the hair on the back of your head. And a glowing mark is seen. A circle bisected by 2 lines and 3 dots atop it. Alice.
What kind of state am I in?
You are no longer feeling pain. As a matter of fact, everything is clear. All of the symbols that you've been studying make sense. And you see these things floating through the air. These symbols rearranging themselves, lining the portal itself. Everything makes sense. Everything is clear. You remember everything.
Alice is going to get to her feet, and her blouse is hanging open. She kind of smiles at it, and she turns around and places a hand on one of the creature's shoulders that's standing in front of Jack and kind of tries to gently lead them from her way.
He moves at your touch.
She looks down to Jack.
You know, Puddin', if you wanted to touch me, I probably would have let you, honestly. Wasn't like those cold, clammy hands of Swansworth. God, the shit I had to go through with that man, disgusting, really, when I think about it for too long, but girl's gotta do what a girl's gotta do. It's for family, after all. You know, family's everything.
Can I have one last cigarette?
For you? Sure. Why not?
She's gonna open up her bag, pull a cigarette from her purse, and stick it into his mouth.
Silly me. You want a light, don't you, Jack?
That'd be great.
See, I feel like maybe you think I'm not as smart as I am, Jack. All that nitroglycerin behind me. Just take one little cigarette, wouldn't it? Just one little light.
She's gonna kneel down in front of him, and both of her hands kind of snake up his chest and hook on his shoulders.
I feel like part of me almost feels bad for you, Jack, because you really did try. You gave it y'all. But don't you worry. I've got big plans.
And she's gonna lean forward and kiss Jack. And as she kisses Jack, she's going to cast Breath of the Deep.
Go ahead and give me that power roll.
Yeah.
I'm gonna go ahead and use one of those luck points provided by the lovely audience this evening. Boom, 31.
Okay. Jack, I need you to give me a... You know what? We're going to say you're going to give me... we'll just go with a straight dex roll. Please and thank you.
I'm gonna spend luck.
Okay.
Ooh, 15. I am, with the luck point, I am under half. I'm at 5th.
Okay. Go ahead. Roll your firearm.
As I do this, I got 17.
Okay.
As I do this, I want to say, yeah, kid, you got big plans, but you got a really small gun. And as I take that Derringer from her bag, I will fire it at the nitroglycerin that's at the base of the statue.
As you fire the gun, you got a 17?
Yeah.
One of the tentacles moves in the way as the bullet hits with an audible splorch sound. And in that moment, that your lungs begin to fill with seawater, and you begin to drown in place as the cigarette falls out of your mouth. her lips coming back from yours, the gun dropping from your hand, seawater pouring out of your mouth, out of your nose, out of your ears. And as you look, you see Paul walk out from behind the statue with his mop bucket, looking at you. And your eyes in those last few moments look over at Alice, who's looking down at you, smiling. And in that moment, her skin shimmers slightly. And from below her skirt, tentacles come down, grabbing around you, pulling you down and between her and up into a waiting maw of teeth and oblivion. And the last thing your conscious mind processes is the snapping of your skull bone and the consuming of your brain. Four months later, Alice is walking down the street in Innsmouth, wearing a lovely green two-piece dress, taking in the air, the sight. It's overcast today, but warm. What a lovely spring day. So happy the equinox came. It made everything so full of life. As you turn and stumble for just a moment, catching your foot. Oh, excuse me, ma'am. Are you okay? And as you turn to face this man with a large belly, very much showing a pregnancy. Where's your husband, ma'am?
Oh, well, you know, he was lost at sea. But I'll never forget Jack. He was a good man.
Oh, I'm so sorry. Can I help get you home?
Please.
And he grabs up your bags and he begins walking beside you. My name's Johnny. What's yours?
My name's Alice. It's nice to meet you.
Wow. Scent of the ocean's real strong today.
Isn't it nice?
As it fades out. Thank you, everybody, for joining us for the Swansworth Obsession.